So I made it back to Texas and I'm in my home office now, and I'm super excited to be able to have a nice quiet place to make some good videos for you guys. I apologize, yesterday's video was noisy and in the airport, but I wanted to keep my word and make sure that I made a video each day for the next 90 days. So this is day 26. I can't believe it's day 26 already. And I wanted to continue talking about steps 8 and 9. Where we made our list of people that we're willing to make amends to, and then we look at making those amends to people. So when we first sat down and started to work through the steps, and we looked at our character defects, we already produced a list back then of the things that we had done, the things we weren't proud of. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at how we can make up for those things to people. Because before we can move on in life, we really need to be able to let go of the past. And a lot of that is being able to make amends to people. Now, there's different types of amends that you can make. And there's going to be people, maybe your alcoholism or your addiction caused you to be completely pushed to one side and no longer be a part of someone's life anymore. Let's take the example of an ex-wife. And you put that person through hell and back because of your addiction, ended up getting a divorce, and now as part of your recovery you need to be able to make amends to that person, but they don't talk to you. Well, that's not a problem, because what you can do when you make amends is you can simply write a letter to that person. So if you can't physically find them, or you're not able to go and speak to them, by writing a letter you're still doing what you need to do to be able to move on in your journey. Whether they reply or not, or how they respond to it, that doesn't matter. What you've done is you've put the olive branch out there. You've made that, you've not made excuses. You've simply owned up to the things that you've done and tried to smooth things over. Now, a lot of people, friends, people that understand what you're going through, they're going to understand and they're going to appreciate you reaching out and just admitting those shortcomings and be proud that you're making this directional change in your life. Maybe because of your alcoholism or because of your addiction, you have some debts out there and you've been ignoring those debts. Well, I'm sorry, but it's time to take care of those as well, because before we can truly move on in our life, we have to take care of everything in the past that's dragging us back. I'm going to be the first one, I'll put my hand on my heart right now. I've got debts that are still hung out there from my gambling addiction and from things that I've done in the past that I'm gradually taking care of. And yeah, it's terrible, and it would be nice to be able to just kind of brush them under the carpet and maybe just go bankrupt and just kind of start a fresh slate. And I thought about that personally for a long time. But really, that's like taking the easy way out. Just because I spent that money. I wasted that money gambling. So why should the people that lent that money to me have to be out of pocket because of my addiction? Why should I try and find an easy way around that? And honestly, I shouldn't. So that's something personally I have to continue to take care of. And I've dug myself a hole there, and I'm still digging out of it, even though I'm 4 years sober and 4 years without gambling. So, everyone's situation's different. One thing I will caution you though, it does say make amends wherever possible, except where it injure or harm another person. So you've got to make a judgment call and make sure that by bringing this back up with that person, you're not going to do more harm than good. And if you're not sure, again, this is where you sit down and you talk through things with a sponsor, because they will have done this themselves and they will understand. And the other thing is, maybe there's some legal ramifications of some of the things. Maybe you've stolen in the past. Let's say you were an employee at a store and you were siphoning money out of the cash till. Now, if you go back and own up to that, then maybe you'll end up getting thrown in jail. So how can you make amends for something like that? Well, maybe you can send a check, or you can drop a check off at that store, or maybe it was a small business that you worked for and it's owned by somebody, and maybe you can just send a money order, or you can send money to them anonymously, I love that word, so that you've made those amends there. So there's lots of different ways to do this, and I do stress again, sit down with a sponsor, someone who's done this before, so that they can go through how to do this. Because this is important that you do this thoroughly, because this step is one of the steps that's really key to you being able to move on, because it's like you're letting go of baggage. It's those things you've been hanging on too tight, you've been hanging on to them and they've been dragging you down. It's like you can release all that and you can start to move forwards. So I hope this has helped someone out there. Again, there's a link to the group that I run below. Please do go ahead and join that group. And if you haven't seen the rest of the videos, strongly advise you to start from the beginning. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Congratulations on another day sober. And thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Bye bye.